What up, what up, what up? All right, as usual, I'm trying to get this started, What up, YouTube and cousin truckies or truckers, whatever. Here I am back with another car review. You've already seen the thumbnail, so let's get right to it. This is actually a 2026 Hyundai, well, I guess I can't say Hyundai or Honda, a Hyundai Palisade. We'll say I rented the model. I guess they say these Palisades came out in like 2020. So I rented the model before this one. But when I went to the budget dealership that I rent a lot of my cars from, I saw they had this new one. So I was like, hey, is it a way I can get the new one? They were like, sure. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. I don't know if you guys saw the previous model of this car before this, but this new one definitely has made a huge change. It's got like a huge facelift. And speaking of huge, these right here are the daytime running lights and the turn signal, and they are huge. Like, I feel like I've just never seen something that big on a vehicle in my life. And I don't know if this is supposed to be some type of joke or if it's for safety reasons, but if you pretend like you can't see my turn signal with this signal right here, then you definitely are blind and need to have your license suspended and or revoked. It's kind of funny because this is the key for the car, which is also interesting. If you turn to the side, it actually matches the Hyundai symbol. But if I unlock it, you can just see, yeah, that whole thing right there is a turn signal and the daytime running lights. Like I said, it's a little big, a little beefy. It's not the worst thing I've seen on the vehicle, but it definitely stands out a lot. And another interesting thing about this is, like, these here are the headlights. Although, I guess this is the headlight. This is the bright light. Because I did notice if you turn on the bright light, this one down here seems to light up, not this one. So, you know, that's kind of interesting. And then it's like this whole thing is just like plastic or something. It's like, it's just made different than a normal headlight that I've seen on normal cars. But yeah, these two lights right here, I'm assuming are the headlights. Like I say, they're not on right now, so you can't see them. But, you know, oh, there they go. And so, yeah, as you can see, that's what the headlights are. And this right here is also a light. It seems like nowadays all these vehicles are trying to be like Teslas and have these huge light bars across the front of the vehicle. And I don't know where that's coming from or who thought that was nice and fancy, but it seems like all these vehicles are doing. What's also interesting is these vents down here actually open up. Like, there was a couple of times I saw them open. I don't know why and when they randomly open, but for some reason they open up at random times. I do like the fact that, like, this front grille right here doesn't have any type of emblem. So in so many ways, you wouldn't even know what this vehicle is unless you saw this giant H right here, which stands for Hyundai. But I do feel like if this was my own personal vehicle, I would either find a way to remove this or black it out in such a way where you just really can't tell. For me personally, the only downside of this vehicle would be the wheels. I don't really like these wheels too much. It's something where the ride of this vehicle is actually amazing. It drives really, really smoothly. I don't know if it's because of the suspension or maybe it's because of these giant tires, but I just personally don't like these wheels. Like, these need to have better wheels on them. And I'm pretty sure if you get a higher trim level, you would have better wheels. And this wheel size here is an 18-inch wheel. So, you know, I guess maybe that comes standard on these vehicles. Here you have the side profile, which, if you've seen the previous version of this vehicle, as I've said, this vehicle has changed a lot compared to its predecessor. I mean, this one here has very, like, bold and strong edges to it. It's definitely a lot more square body than it used to be. The only complaint I have about it, and I've noticed this with different trim levels, is that silver bar here. I've noticed on some models it's a lot lower. It's like down towards the bottom of the vehicle. And I personally think that looks better than having it where it is right here on this vehicle. Like, I've seen some other models online where that whole bar is down lower, And I personally think that looks better. I also wish with a lot of these vehicles, they would just make them one color. Like it's kind of a green at the top and gray at the bottom. They should just make the whole entire thing green. I still don't know why they're putting all this plastic rubber at the bottom of most of these SUVs. I guess it's got to do with if you crash, it's just easier for them to fix that. And so let's get into the inside of this baby. And so here you have it. Also, one thing I will say, this vehicle has a decent amount of cup holders. Like it has a lot of cup holders, which makes it very nice. Even in here, is like it has a lot of space down here, which is also pretty cool. I would imagine with different models, maybe this looks a little bit different. But this right here is the interior of the vehicle. And overall, very elegant. Nice leather seats. The headrests actually feel very comfortable, which is kind of interesting. Funny now that I think about it, I saw somebody else was talking about the fact that on certain models, they don't put the H on the steering wheel. They actually have these 4 dots, which apparently those 4 dots are Morse code for an H, which is, and I don't even know if you can see those 4 dots. I think you can see them. You can see them, they're kind of right there. The 4 dots. And somebody told me that's Morse code for H, which I don't know what the heck that means, but okay. And yeah, and like I say, I mean, a lot of this stuff is just very basic, and it's not a bad thing, but it's like there's really not a whole lot of buttons on here on this door. Like I've rented vehicles that has a ton of stuff over here. This one really doesn't have much. And then this here is the speedometer. And this is like one big screen. Although if you look at it right here, you can see where the screen actually splits. Like right here, you can see where the screen splits. And you can tell there's a screen here and a screen here, but they still make it look like it's just one big screen. I've even seen some models where this part over here lights up. In this model, it doesn't, but I've seen some models where that section over there will light up at night. This vehicle still has a lot of buttons, which ain't bad. I'm an old school person, so I still like buttons. And this one definitely still has a lot of the buttons right here on the dash. It's not all touch screen like a lot of these vehicles. So I'm actually sometimes thankful to still have a few buttons left in a vehicle. The one thing I was told about this vehicle, which I found out is true, is I have found out the gear shift on this vehicle is very different than anything I've ever seen. So everything is push to start. So, you know, you get in here and you get ready to turn it on. So you're like, okay, is it this button here? No. All right, well, maybe it's a button down here. No. To turn this vehicle on, the button is actually there. Right there. And I don't know if you can see that, but that is how you turn this vehicle on. The push to start button is right there. And so like anything else, you just hold the brake, you push the button. This one doesn't do a whole lot of fancy welcome to Hyundai type of stuff, but when you turn the vehicle off, it actually does some fancy things, but not when you turn it on. It doesn't do anything too fancy. Also, let me turn it off real quick and see if you can see what I'm saying. But yeah, you see that? When you turn it off, it's like goodbye. And I don't know if you noticed, but also you can see like the little space in the screen right there. Now, one thing that was weird to me is the actual manual for the car is right here. And it sits in this little cubby spot right here, which I don't know if that's supposed to be there, because I do realize this here doesn't have a whole lot of space. Like you basically can't fit that in there, which I don't know why didn't they just get rid of this extra space here, you know, so you can at least hide that. But yeah, for the most part, you have to keep the manual for it right there, which I thought is kind of interesting, and like, that's just a little different. And then, like I say, and then there's a whole lot of space down here for you to put stuff. Decent amount of cup holders, I guess, or I'm assuming this is some type of charging station. I do hate that mostly all these new vehicles are coming with this USB-C nonsense. So I constantly have to go find chargers that have a USB-C cable on both sides, which that is getting so annoying. I don't know who came up with this idea. Also has a decent amount of space. I'm not gonna say a ton of space, but it has a decent amount of space where you can put a decent amount of things inside there. So there we are. I'm getting it started again to show you some other stuff. Yeah, all the AC controllers are down here, which I still love that. A lot of these vehicles is all touchscreen, but in this one they have a decent amount of, because this you can still touchscreen up here, but a lot of the buttons are down here that you have to use to control everything. And since I'm old-fashioned and I'm a 80s baby, I still like having all my buttons down there so I can control some things. And so now let's check out the rear seat of this vehicle. And also, yeah, I'm out here in beautiful Oviedo, Florida. Some of you guys know where that is. That over there, I don't know if that's the Top Golf place, but it's some type of golf place. That's the L House over there behind me. But yeah, I'm over here out in Oviedo doing this car review in Oviedo, Florida. All right, and so now here I am in the rear. And like I tell people, I'm starting to realize a lot of these vehicles, you know, are meant for the passengers. This one ain't too bad. As a lot of you know, I'm 6'2". So I was sitting here in the driver's seat that's in front of me, and now I'm behind the driver. I have a decent amount of leg room. Like, I don't feel too squished. I got a decent amount of leg room back here, so that's actually pretty nice, and I'm actually happy about that. So to me, that means this would actually be a decent road trip vehicle, because if a guy my size can sit back here and feel kind of comfortable, then anybody out there should be able to feel comfortable in this type of vehicle. They also have USB-C plugs on both sides of the seat for passengers. Yeah, from what I can see down here, there's not a whole lot down there. There's actually not even anything here either. Like, I don't know what that's about. Like, there's nothing there. Wait a minute. Okay, now, first of all, this is a rental car. I don't know who put this in here, but I did not put this in here. What has they got in here? Let me see what they got in here. Oh, somebody was sick. They had cough drops. Oh, look like they went to Disney Springs. They went to Dinosaur World. So these people have been all over the place. Oh, wow. But see, that's one interesting thing. I see they ain't leave no money in here. What is this? Military discount at premium outlets. So somebody left all their business up in here. That's the one interesting thing about a rental car. Let me just make sure they ain't leave no money down here. If they did, I'm not returning that back. That's mine now. No, it looks like they just got some SeaWorld stuff. So that's interesting. I will now have to throw this crap away, because whoever had this vehicle before me left some things in it. And I hate to admit, there was some years ago where I actually found a winning lottery ticket inside of a vehicle, and it was a $50 lottery ticket. Now, I just thank the person who left it in there for me, because, you know, I went ahead and cashed it in, but, you know, that was fine. And as speaking of cash in, I see that usually these buttons up here are down here, but I see they put the controls for the passengers in the rear up here. It has all the different temperature controls and on and off and things like that. So, okay, yeah, and then the air vents are also up here. And here's a view of the front from the second row seat, from the back seat. So I do know this one also has a third row seat, so let's see if we can get back here. And also one quick thing, this one also has what I call the dog cage shades back here, where it looks like you're riding a police vehicle with a dog shade, but it's like, yeah, you can actually, you know, take this down. So to me, this is one of those things where I feel like, although it's kind of cool, eventually it might malfunction, and that's gonna be one more thing for me to fix when it finally breaks. So on this, to access the third row seat, because I don't think I can squeeze through the middle, maybe a little kid can, but I can't. You just push this button right here, and that's as far as it goes up, I see. So let me see. Wow, this is already a tight squeeze to try to get in here. Okay, so I finally made it back here on the third row seat. And I can definitely tell this is not meant for instead of 6'2". Like they didn't mean for us to be back here, because it is a very, I'm not gonna even say tight space. It's not that tight. It's not super tight. Like, I've sat in some third row seats, like, so I do gotta spread wide in order to fit back here. But I've been in some back seats where I literally couldn't even pull this seat back. Like, I couldn't pull this seat back. And I mean, if we weren't going that far, a person my size could definitely sit back here and it would be fine. And it's not, right now it doesn't feel super uncomfortable, but it's also because it's just me and I'm just testing out the vehicle. But yeah, a person my size can fit, but the problem is I gotta have this extra gap. Thing is, I gotta have this extra gap in order to keep my leg out, just so I don't feel too claustrophobic or squeezed back here. So maybe with this vehicle, 5 people my size could fit here, but the person back here is going to end up taking up the whole row, unless you get a little person right there. Then it'll be fine. Wow, more cup holders. I got more cup holders back here. More USB-C chargers. So I will say overall, it's not the worst, it's not the best, but at least I don't feel, I remember there was some SUVs I've reviewed in the past where sitting in the 3rd row seat, it was like my knees were coming up to my chest. This one doesn't quite feel that bad. I mean, it's there, but it's not the way some of them have been in the past. So this isn't like the worst feeling ever, but I will say, yeah, if a person my size got to get back here, it's only meant for them to be back here for a short amount of time. But it is possible, as I've just proven. So now let's check out the trunk that's back here. Because the only thing I would say about this Hyundai is it sort of to me sometimes feels like, what are you trying to be? Are we trying to be a Range Rover back here? I mean, I do love the way these taillights look, and they're also pretty big and very bright. But I'm not too excited about this chrome stainless steel piece right there. Like, to me, it almost makes no sense. Like, why not just keep it all green in one color versus adding this stainless steel piece? And then it seems like they're kind of borrowing from the old taillights of the Range Rover, because sometimes I feel like the rear of this vehicle and the front of this vehicle don't quite match each other. But it's still a very nice car, very nice truck, very nice SUV. From this angle, it looks like a very nice luxury vehicle, but that chrome right here still just looks very off. I thought originally that this was the turn signal, but this right here is the turn signal. And this here is the rear, which, like I say, I do unfortunately feel like the rear of this vehicle and the front don't quite match each other. But the rear of this vehicle is actually very nice. Like, it actually looks to me like a luxurious SUV. And maybe it's supposed to be a luxury SUV. I mean, even this right here, this is also a brake light right here, and it has an interesting shape. Also, I see that they tucked the windshield wiper under here, because a lot of the vehicles have it out here, but this one tucked it away. And so in order to open this vehicle, like most of these, you just push the button right under there, and bada boom, bada bing. I was surprised at the amount of space that they have here in this rear, because I've even rented some large SUVs who this back seat here has almost no space. Like, you would be surprised how you cannot fit anything back here, especially if you got all the seats up. I mean, like with most of these vehicles, you know, for this one here, you just pull it right here, and that lets the seats down, which is kind of old-fashioned. I'm assuming if you get a higher trim model, you could probably push a button and it would do that. But yeah, once you let that down, you actually have a little bit more space. So then it's fine for you to kind of put more cargo, but then keep in mind you can only have at least 4 or maybe even 5 people riding with you. But yeah, this one does have a decent amount of trunk space, even with the seats all upright. So that's not, you know, that's not super bad, not super bad at all. And so then once again, if we wanted to close this baby, you just push the button right there, and bada bing, bada boom, there she goes. Overall, this has been a very nice vehicle. Like, I think it's fine. The only thing I do hate though is that chrome piece right there. Like, that chrome piece right there, I just don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. But, you know, they didn't ask me to help them design it. Like I said, the tail lights, I think, are very nice. But to me, it almost looks like it wants to look like a Range Rover. It wants to look like a Ford Explorer. It wants to look like a couple of different vehicles. And I was just joking with my cousin about this, because even at this angle, it almost resembles the old Ford Explorer. But, you know, this is a new vehicle. But the rear end looks newer than almost this front end right here looks, at least at this angle. I didn't get a chance to really see how many miles per gallon it was getting, but it also feels like it burns a lot of gas. I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like even going down to Miami for MLK, it seemed like it burnt a lot of gas, and I was kind of surprised by that. But at the same time, it doesn't cost a lot to fill up because the gas tank is only so big. So it wasn't like it took a lot of gas to fill it up. Once again, at this angle, it looks fine. Like, I think it's a very nice vehicle. And it is something that I would probably want to get it in a different color and maybe a different trim level. But overall, I feel like it's a very nice vehicle. And so, as usual, if you have a vehicle out there that you would like Cuzzintruck to review with his regular man reviews, you know, just hit me up. Just keep in mind, I have to keep the vehicle for a couple of days just to really test it out and tell the people how I really feel about it. But I do also want to thank you guys for always checking out the videos. Please continue to like, share, subscribe, all those other good old-fashioned things. And I'll hit you guys on the next one. Peace.
You do it. You the one who wants to do it.
You were the one who asked me to record you. Know what you got to say?
Why you putting that so good? You said subscribe, leave a like, and share the video.
All right.